Welcome back, everybody, to the SendouQ finals for season 10. What a day it has been, OBT. I think everybody has been in absolute shock. What are your thoughts so far on everything we've seen? I know we were kind of half watching, half playing, but do tell.
Honestly, man, craziest thing is definitely Sun Eater, bro. Oh my God, what is that? The 12 seed making top cut? Like, I figured that, you know, one of the top 4 teams would not make it, but I never in a billion years thought it would be Sun Eater, man. They just had an incredible run so far. And then also, man, Easy MD not in the top 4 is crazy. I know Saf was talking about how they've pretty much been in the last 2 that they've been in for top 4. So for them not to be here, pretty crazy. Glad Jared's team got in there, even though they did lose that heartbreaking game 5. But man, what a top 4 we got going on today, Cyren.
Yeah, Sun Eater is definitely going to be that standout pick from this top 4, and quite the performance they've had going into this as the 12th seed, because they came in with the lowest amount of points. But even on top of that, just looking at the rosters, I don't think anyone, probably except for Sun Eater, could have predicted this. So today we are going to be looking at both matches of semis and following the storyline of these players. So the other match with Sun Eater, which we have been discussing so far, is going to be on hold for now. They get to take a break, have a snack, watch what's going on, while we get to indulge in PxG versus Nala Fanclub first.
Yes, and that is Nala Fanclub, not Nola Fanclub, like I mistakenly thought it was. Thought they were big fans of the Pelicans, but that's okay. Nala Fanclub going to be coming off that again, that heartbreaking Game 5 loss. They worked so hard, lost it right at the very end, unfortunately. But man, PxG going up against the 1980 Chicago Bull of Splatoon teams for the SendouQ finals with, again, man, just some absolute heavy hitters, Grey Goss, Soldier, Noah. So man, just absolutely stacked team, man. So really excited. We're going to hop right into it.
Yeah, we didn't really get to talk too much about the other team, but we did just come back from watching them a second ago on, I forgot the name of the stage, but anyway, we're on Undertone now. We were up at the surface, but now we're underground. Both teams coming in with very heavy painting comps, and we're seeing the E-Leader coming back from the side of PxG once again, which is going to be an interesting pick from this map when there is a lot of coverage going on here, but I do trust the judgment of all of these players this far into the tournament.
Yeah, you know, like I was saying yesterday in the pre-show, man, like if you're picking E-Leader and you're here, man, you are good at leader and you trust yourself. Unfortunately, Aura Boy 36 going to be taking them out with a clean blaster shot. Make that 2.5. It is just going to be, believe that is Trey on the 52. They're trying to escape there. I don't know if they're going to get away. They actually fake up the block and get the kill out of the blaster, Cyren.
Yeah, very, very good early pick. And we do see that bubble getting deployed by that mini there. Ryu here pushing all the way up on the center spine. Solja is able to spot them out, but that control is still being very well held by the members of Nala Fanclub here, getting the picks consistently onto the side of PxG so far. However, with the tear that PxG has been on so far in this tournament, I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep up this facade. Jared sitting here on that bottom left, holding on to that Booyah Bomb. So many people swimming around Jared. And absolutely nobody knows that he's here. Is going to pop that Booyah Bomb, prevent them from taking him out right away. And that's not going to get too much done, but it is going to manipulate the players on PxG to moving over to the right side of the zone and forced to pop those strikes. Still, nothing is really going on here as far as objective flips.
Yeah, you know, it is a little challenging. PxG hasn't played in quite some time compared to Nala Fanclub, literally just coming off of a Game 5 set. They are definitely much warmer, and I think you are seeing that right now. As, yes, they still have not been able to cap the zone. It's just going to be Aura Boy 36. They do get the pick. Can they get more? But no, unfortunately, it's going to be the flip over to PxG. But, man, I feel like PxG is not coming into this feeling good right now.
Well, I mean, I think you have to feel a little bit good when you apply a large penalty like 52 onto your opponents. You do have that freedom to count down your points very quickly here. As long as you keep getting these pushes, you keep getting these picks, getting the pencil out of the way is a huge one right off the bat. Getting rid of that mini is effectively getting rid of a bubble, and that is going to be a very clean intercept from the other members of PxG. They're getting that full team wipe, proving why they're here to begin with. And now we are very much in the range of getting another lead swap. Soldier going to make a smart choice here, jump away from a bad fight, and is still staying alive, still applying this pressure. Specials are still consistently going out, and advantage switches back to PxG as the members of Nala Fanclub slowly leak in towards these zones.
Oh man, they don't see it. This is going to be the 52 player coming out, going to get a pick onto Ryu here. They did not see them. It is 2 versus 3 right now, but they do need to find a way to actually get the zone flip. They are only 1 point behind, trying to not make it worse. They get the zone cap there, and I believe that's going to be Trey again just on this bottom right, trying to survive. His members of Nala Fanclub are trickling back in here.
Yeah, Nala Fanclub moving in as a solid unit together. We see Aura Boy here popping that bubble, giving himself that support to stay on that left bottom side there as Ryu stays back, paints these zones, avoids these strikes, and you can see how important objective players are for this particular zones map, because it is so hard to just micromanage these zones and manage all these fights at the same time. Look at both sides of the map. So having somebody like Ryu here in the center of the map, just keeping both zones painted, applying specials, keeping area control is so integral to holding things down here. And I think that's been the biggest difference between these two teams' play styles. As you see here, that once PxG gets in, they go in really, really far. They don't really feel the need to have somebody doing that. But it's just a difficulty to get in that position in the first place. So you can see that they're struggling a little bit to get back in here, while the members of Nala Fanclub have much more firmly planted roots. However, are they going to be able to keep this up long enough to burn through that penalty, get closer towards that knockout, or are we looking at a situation here where someone like Jared might run in, get another Booyah Bomb down, and perhaps switch the tides of this game?
Yeah, it's been so hard, man. I feel like every time one of the teams is really close to getting a breakaway lead, somebody is taking a fight, and then like 2 members go down. And even right now, it's been a really big skirmish to try to get this zone. But even right there, PxG wasn't able to push past their 31. And they are still in the lead. But man, 1 point lead against a team this good does not super feel awesome right now in SendouQ finals. But hey, man, Gray with the cooler coming out here. I feel like, again, members are starting to warm up. They're starting to kind of find their footing here as Gray gets taken out by Jared. But again, no major anything has been happening. I feel like it's mostly been a slobber knocker right in the middle of this map right now.
A slobber knocker, that is, and eventually one team is going to have to fold, and it looks like it actually is going to be PxG for now. They don't really have too much further to go to get a lead here, but Jared, you can see, playing a little bit cautiously towards the spawn of PxG. You don't want to run in too fast when the only thing to lose is that zone, but we see, I believe that's Trey 52 running in there, getting 3 and just finishing that game right in its tracks. You saw how much momentum that Nala Fanclub was building up, and you saw how hesitant they were there towards the end. And I guess you could say that that fear was very much justified when you don't really know where Trey is sitting around. And unfortunately, it was the one place they weren't looking in that instance.
Yeah, I know we were talking about like how to end the game, and then Trey just killed 3 people, and I was like, okay, well, that's going to be the end of the game, unfortunately. Man, all crazy that came down to a 1 point lead there for PxG. But hey, I mean, I feel like, again, that was the one kind of like, you know, we're coming off of a break here, but I feel like they're back in. It does not feel good, though, if you're Nala Fanclub. You now have lost 2 games straight in a row. Very, very close games, but just weren't able to close it out, unfortunately. And again, had they been able to either flip the zone right before they got that 1 point lead, or been able to, like you said, kind of push up a little farther, get into their base. Because, you know, it's right, like, you don't want to go down there, but I feel like they were able to capitalize on it, especially because they just did not know where Trey was, like you said earlier.
Yeah, that's the worrying thing there. I'm kind of not with you there in the this must feel bad logic in this. You're playing against the first seed in the tournament, and you have a very, very close game, and obviously that part is not going to feel great, feeling like you were so close to winning and not getting it, but it's also, if you're an optimistic person, you see that as, okay, we were that close to winning, we can definitely take this set, it's very winnable. Now we're in a position where we can counterpick the stage that we play on for this second game, so we can potentially build ourselves some kind of advantage starting here and now. Winning the first game is always going to be the best thing you can do in a counterpicks situation. However, they now have a spot where they're like, all right, we got Undertow out of the way. If it wasn't our favorite stage to play, we can now get that out of the way and maybe go to something else like Scorch Gorge. I don't really understand the logic on playing this one in particular. Yeah, it's you might be trying to avoid the angles on the E-leader. I know it's still going to be rough, but there is still that giant pillar in the middle of the zone, so breaking in is going to be difficult, but once you're there, I think it's a very, very solid stage, and that's probably why they're moving towards this one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a solo nightmare zone, but I feel like when you're playing with the team, especially one of this caliber, I feel like if you can just get the hold, man, it's very, very challenging. Like you said, to come in on that one. And this is, pretty much every map is available for zone, so it's really whatever the teams want. It's kind of like the Imaginations map list, if you will. So we're gonna hop right into it. But again, very interesting pick for game 2. Gonna be Scorched Gorge, looking like my home state of Arizona. I know Cyren likes to make fun of me for that, but I love it here. Let's get into it.
Not enough cacti here, I think.
Oh yeah, this is straight up just rocks the desert, bro.
So we actually, okay, I'm just looking at these comps getting into the start of this game. We see Ryu here sticking with that mini on that bubble. Jared staying on the forge as well. Both of these teams feel very confident in their zones comp, and I think that's probably the best way to look at this one, especially when you were so close in that last game here. So we can see a couple players moving up on the right side. I love the strategic bubble placement from Ryu here. Gives coverage over to Jared as well in this team fight, and not quite getting player advantage numbers out of it. However, capping the zone very early on, do choose to back up a little bit here and allow PxG to move in. Don't really want to get Soldier on this top mid area, but then again, like we're playing it very safe. We're trying to find footing.
Keep seeing members of both teams actually Cooler jump out to the side there. Really nice stuff. Going to save them alive, and now they're not down a person as they are stepping into mid here. Jared, unfortunately, going to be on the wrong side of Gray's Zap. We were seeing so much of that earlier, man. They just delete people with this gun. And right now, man, looking like it is actually a PxG counter pick as a man. Their E-leaders in mid. Gray's set up. Not the best spot for Nala Fanclub right now.
Yeah, definitely a worrying position if you are the members of Nala Fanclub. You do have that E-leader set up on top mid, and that was my main concern when they went to counterpick into this particular stage. They're going to have a very, very hard time breaking back in here. You see Ryu here has to pop that bubble basically off of the zone entirely, and that's not really the position you want to pop a bubble in if you're any kind of bubble player. Ideally, you're moving up on the grates, you're popping that bubble to get you some distance, but in instances like this, when that timer is ticking down and you really need to move back in, you do have to make these decisions where you pop that special just to break back in a little bit. And it does seem to be working out very well for the members of Nala Fanclub. Moving back in here, has that zone capped as well, and you can see PxG moving in together as a unit on that left side, is able to wrap around and take out each member of Nala Fanclub one by one. Only a couple people left. Looks like we're painting around, maybe trying to spot them, build more special, and we do have this killer whale at the ready, but are we going to use it to move forward, get under these grates? Feels like we're pretty comfortable just sitting on top of the zone right now, OBT.
Yeah, I want to highlight all of that entire hold was really started by Trey on the bottom right there. They put down their wall, waited for the members of PxG to come to them, and they were actually able to hold and get the zone flip. And even though, again, it is going to go back in the control of Nala Fanclub, that definitely ate into the time a little bit. But man, crazy that all of that started out with just the 52, kind of highlighting how much a good place wall can really support your survivability on this very survivability heavy gun here. Again, team fight coming out here. I feel like Nala Fanclub just has not been able to get that really solid hold that I'm sure they're looking for with a very lockout heavy map like this one, Cyren.
Yeah, it feels like both of these teams are looking for something a little bit more ideal than what they've been looking at right now. Soldier here getting a great pick. Now we're just sitting under these ledges here. It seems like both of these teams don't really want to take any unnecessary risks, and I can't really blame them. Not really seeing any distance much further than this, but you can see that E-leader has such a great reach into the base of Nala Fanclub here. We're seeing all these floating heads on our screen. We see Ryu, Aura Boy, and we see Jared, and I feel like the E-leader can reach every single one of them. There's not that much coverage for Nala Fanclub to work with here, and it's just going to be Ryu left. With 25 seconds left on the counter, they need to be very careful about how they move in here. That cooler has been popped. There's people jumping in, and unfortunately for them, 2 of them are going to be going down. Ryu is going to be the last one able to even paint the zone at all, and with Ryu going down, that is, yeah, that's just going to be an easy victory for PxG.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like it is good for your comp, but unfortunately, I did think it was better for PxG. Having that leader with just that little bit of extra range and a little bit more visibility and kill power. And also, honestly, MVP that I felt like was Soldier, man. They just got up on top mid every time and just killed everyone. And then on top of that, at the very end, you were seeing they were consistently sharking those ledges. Soldier playing Bucket has a lot more access to like pretty much all sides of their side of their plat. They can get onto snipe, they can shoot over towards the bridge, they can shoot over towards the left, and I feel like that was really taken advantage of. Unfortunately, Nala Fanclub not able to do what PxG did to them, and now Cyren, they are on the cusp of a potential either 3-0 and a handshake or trying to get that reverse sweep. We saw it happen in the last set. It went to game 5, but hopefully Nala Fanclub got something deep in their pockets for this one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that synergy between the E leader and Soldier was key for closing out that game. Obviously, we didn't see many snipes coming out from that leader on the side of PxG. However, that communication between team members probably indicated to Soldier where people were going in general. Okay, I see Jared, I see a couple people moving towards the right. Just slosh under that ledge and you're bound to get somebody, and that's evidently how that worked out. So I think in situations like this, you have to go for something maybe a little bit more flat. So I do understand the counter pick going into Umami here. It's still going to be a very charger heavy map. However, moving into this one here, we'll see how they approach this. I don't know. How do you take out a leader that's this strong and this dominating towards what your team is doing?
I feel like it's challenging because, like, I mean, I don't like this map as a bucket player, but granted, Soldier's way better than I am. I really agree with the flat map. I mean, they have mini, they have pro, they have a pencil, and there is a lot more cover to hide behind in terms of like just map geometry. So again, Soldier doing what most bucket players would do, just taking top mid immediately, although they are going to be joined by 2 members of Nala Fanclub here. Hammer coming out and trying to get out of there. That should be a dead Soldier on that one, and it's going to be looking like the Nala Fanclub might have the first advantage here for the first fight.
Yeah, Ryu doing some great schmovement around that player who tried to flank them as well. Neither of these teams able to cap the zones so far. When one goes down, the other goes back up. So Jared having to pop that booyah. Unfortunately for him, a couple people around there to shred. And still, the consistent situation here is that neither of these teams are able to hold any side down in particular. Well, they can, but just not the other one at the same time. So it's going to come down to which team can get basically a full wipe first. Gonna end up being PxG. Very, I would say coincidentally, both teams had 2 people down at that point in time, but getting the first advantage is pretty big. I would say in Umami, this is kind of a lockout heavy map, and it's not the situation you want to be in for the members of Nala Fanclub.
No, especially, man, when the camera's on that E-leader player, like, that is not what you want to see when you're down, 2 games, and also that took a minute of the match. A full minute to get even the first control there. Ryu with a nice hammer throw going to be at the end of that player, and the end of Soldier over there, as you're starting to see members try to push up that they are blocked by the 52 wall, going to wisely jump out, preserve their life because they got the cooler happening there, and just, again, not able to kind of get into their base like I feel like the other team just did to them. And Jared going to go down on this left side as Soldier is trying to find more picks, joined by the 52 player.
Yeah, Ryu has been playing very, very well aggressively as a mini player. I feel like a lot of the player expectation is that the mini is going to run around a little bit, paint a whole lot, pop these hammers, and then stop interacting the moment that special is over. But you can see that it's definitely not the case for Ryu here. They have been very much in the faces of the members of PxG, regardless of what's going on in that particular game, and that is something that is very commendable as a player. However, that is a little bit concerning when the members of PxG start getting back into this position here that they really want to be in, running back up into the spawn of Nala Fanclub. You can see here Jared popping another booyah, but being so out of range of the members of PxG, they are actually going to have to back off here and allow him to pop that booyah. Not going to do too much for these zones here, and how are they going to reapproach this, OBT?
They just sneezed and that booyah bomb just went away there. I feel like they were unable to capitalize on it. Ryu was like, we got to start making a play, man. Boy 36 going to find a pick here. They do need to neutralize the zone, as you're seeing members of PxG collapse onto the zone. If they get the flip, that should be curtains for them. 2 members going down for Nala Fanclub. I don't know if they got it in the tank, Cyren. It's going to be just Boy 36. And unfortunately for Nala Fanclub, that is going to be the end of their run there. PxG going to take it 3-0 to start our top 4.
A very clean victory for PxG in these first set of semifinals. Unfortunate for Nala Fanclub, one of our top seeds of this event, did perform extremely well, but maybe lost a little bit of steam towards the end of that group stage. Was able to make it up to top cut here and still performed incredibly well, especially against such a powerhouse team. However, it is what it is at the end of the day. You put your best effort into it and you work so hard to get to this point. And honestly, like, tying for third is not shabby at all. This is a great performance.
Yeah, really, really strong stuff, especially since I know that they weren't seeded to make top four. So still making it there. And honestly, man, the 3-0 does not tell the story, especially that those first two games I feel like were closer. So unfortunately, just not able to find their footing against the super team that is PxG. But honestly, like you said, very commendable performance from them. So I look forward to seeing all those players in future events. I know Jared's playing Ludi. I'm sure some of those other players are as well. So nice stuff to them. But it is going to be, again, man, PxG, the person we really, really thought was going to be in the finals. They are going to be in the finals there. I wonder who is going to oppose them, Cyren.
I wonder too. I guess there's only one way to find out from here, OBT.